Hello and welcome. Uh, sort of back in town. Kind of not home at the moment, and actually borrowing coffee. So I'm not gonna tell you what the coffee is, but it's pre-ground and it's kind of a medium dark roast. So not amazing, but it's here. But also, I kind of have a bit of a cold, so I can't really taste a whole lot, anyways. So I figured doesn't really matter. I did also, as a hedge, I brewed the coffee on a bit of a lower heat. So interestingly enough, it's actually kind of sweet, even though I know this coffee's been around for a while, and like I said, pre-ground. So that means a lot of the vibrancy has disappeared from whatever there may have been. But so knowing that the coffee is like a medium dark roast, I can taste kind of a bit of the roastiness on it, but not too much. But I brewed with a lower temperature, so I don't know exactly what temperature it was. I don't have a thermometer, but I boiled the water and then I just let the kettle sit for like, I don't know, 20 minutes. I was setting up the camera and tripod because I was doing some photos for an upcoming issue with the Chemex. And I kind of have to remind myself this a lot. So when you're brewing like a darker roast, you can actually get a much more enjoyable brew if you use a lower temperature water, which is a total sidebar. I actually made some notes for something to chat about today, but I think that is why if you're familiar with the phenomenon of auto drip machines and how they they're not usually not terribly amazing. It's usually hard to make a really good cup of coffee on them, and one of the main reasons for that is that they don't have good water heating systems. If they can heat the water hot enough, like 200 plus degrees, when you get them, they will break down over time, and you're always going to be brewing coffee at like 180 degrees Fahrenheit, of course. And that actually turns out to be pretty decent with a dark roast. Um, Higher temperature is really important for getting the acids and the delicate flavors and like all the really the tastiest parts of like high end high quality coffee. You want high temperature for that, especially when you're brewing on a pour over. My practice with the Kalita Wave, the V60, the Chemex, when I'm at home and I'm brewing some like nice light roasted coffee, is I'll bring the water to the boil. I'll let it just settle and then I'll brew right away. It's probably like 210 degrees when I pour the water, but that's totally fine. Um, I think I talked about this all in another episode, so I'm not gonna like go into it further. But back to the point is that if you find yourself brewing with a dark roast, try touching the temperature below 200 and see what you get. I think what you find is that some of the harsher flavors will not be will not get extracted, or won't be as noticeable. In this case, this is a pretty mild but slightly sweet coffee. I think most people would enjoy this. To me, it's fine. It's coffee. It's in a cup. I'm talking about coffee. What the thing I had made notes on for this video is a thing that's been kind of on my mind, and I'm a little hesitant to talk about it because it's kind of negative. Um, so yeah, it's a subject that's been on my mind for a variety of reasons. I'm not going to get too into it right now, but essentially, it's how the social environment right now makes it super easy for complete BS to drive things. Essentially, um, it's quite possible to just constantly straight up lie and not only get away with it, but thrive through that process. I could I could point to businesses that I think do this in one way or another. That's not what I'm going to do right now. But essentially, as long as you're telling a compelling story that connects with people who are listening to you, then it like doesn't matter what you say. Um, and this is kind of a challenge. Like I said, I want to think on it more and maybe write about it. But I probably will do like a bit of a long video at some point, just because I think it's a concept that's worth being aware of. If you aren't, and if you are, I think it's a concept worth talking about, because just knowing that there are a lot of people out there who operate this way changes how effective they can be. But I thought maybe, because I made a note for another topic on the video before, and it's kind of related, and it's sort of the flip side of this in some ways. And so, a question to you: do you consume media that validates what you already know and believe, or do you consume media that challenges your beliefs and ideas? So, are you consuming just to validate your reality because it feels good, or are you learning and changing? I think I should say I don't think that it's necessary to constantly be consuming things that are challenging. Like, I mean, we want to have fun and we want to enjoy ourselves, of course, and so that's what a lot of entertainment is about. But I think the challenge comes into play when we are reading, watching, listening to things that are supposed to be like informative, and what they do is validate your view of reality. I think it's really, really hard to tell when that's happening. Like really difficult to tell when you're in that space. For me, I think what I try to look for is because it's not just about learning something new. If you recall, I did a video like a month ago now, I think, where I was talking about how there are a lot of marketing strategies built around teach someone something and then use that new knowledge to sell them a thing. And interestingly enough, part of that practice is teaching someone something that validates a belief that they have in their own reality. So it's not just enough to be learning, but being challenged, being personally challenged with the things that you believe. I think is a really important thing. I think that's like one of the best things you can do as a person, and like one of the biggest challenges that every person has, and I think this can be a lifelong challenge, is truly knowing yourself. And part of really knowing who you are and what you believe and why you do the things that you do is being challenged to break the way that you have been, to change your habits, to take a belief that you'd stand by, and break it, make you do something different. Like essentially, if you exist in a space, in a box, then your goal should be to try to break yourself out of it and see what that feels like. Because that's how you know where the definitions of yourself are. But I'm kind of going off topic a little bit here. I think bringing it back to like consumption of media, it's really, really easy in this environment, in the current online space. All of these social platforms YouTube included, of course, are built to keep you engaged, and they are very, very, very intelligent. The systems, the algorithms are very, very good at putting content in front of you that they know you are going to keep consuming. And the easiest thing to keep you consuming is stuff that's just like what you have been consuming. And that's how you get all these insular communities that just validate their own existence. Um, and that's not really a great thing. So, so I guess one last question then. When you find yourself doing things, um, watching videos, listening to podcasts, reading, talking with other people, is the act that you're doing, is this contributing to your life, or is it comforting it? I don't know if that's the best question, but that's one that I'll leave you with, and probably pick this up again in the future. Um, that's all for me for today, for this week. Excuse me. I'm gonna drink just a little bit more of this coffee. Like I said, I actually can't really taste too much, and I think half of that is the cold, which is not very helpful. This summer, I think we'll bring some fun stuff. I'm gonna look to do some backpacking, so I might start talking about that on the channel here. And then when I do go, maybe maybe I'll record a video from out in the woods. Maybe. We'll see. Um, I've been trying to think about other similar topics. Well, not even similar, just other topics of like things that I like to do in life that I could bring into here. Um, but we'll see. A lot of what I do is completely centered around coffee because of the magazine and the podcast and the YouTube channel and everything is very time consuming. But also what I'm like really engaged with doing all the time. Anyhow, that's been whatever week this is. March. This is March 21st, and I'm going to put this up today as well. So, thank you so much for joining me on this Cup of Joe. Thank you for watching. As always, leave your comments below. Always happy to chat about coffee, and I'll see you in the next one.